In the midst of a raging war, a plane crash strands a group of British boys on an uninhabited tropical island without any adult survivors. Two of the boys, an assertive, charismatic boy named Ralph and an overweight, asthmatic boy cruelly nicknamed Piggy, find a conch shell on the beach and use it to summon the other survivors to a meeting. At the assembly, the group of boys, who range in ages from 6 to 12, elect Ralph to be their leader, and they establish that their main goals are to build a signal fire in hopes of a rescue, erect shelters to protect them from the weather, and maintain a semblance of social order and rules. Ralph appoints another boy, Jack, a choir leader with a domineering personality, to be in charge of hunting food for everyone, along with his choir boys. Soon after, Ralph, Jack, and a slight, quiet boy named Simon head off on an expedition to explore the island. When they return, they call another meeting to tell everyone what they have seen, but a small boy with a noticeable birthmark pipes up, revealing that he has seen a beast in the woods, a prospect which frightens the group. To remedy this situation, Ralph puts everyone to work building a signal fire on the mountaintop, using Piggy's glasses to reflect the sunlight. However, the boys are unable to keep control of the fire, and it quickly spreads to the surrounding forest. Piggy criticizes them for their inability to behave maturely, and points out that the young boy with the birthmark has not been accounted for since the fire. As the days pass, the boys adapt to their island life and initially enjoy not having any adult supervision, and the freedom to do as they please. This quickly becomes irritating for Ralph, however, as the group prefer to swim and play rather than doing the important tasks of building shelters and tending the signal fire, while Jack becomes increasingly obsessed with killing one of the many pigs on the island. One day, a ship passes by the island, but to Ralph and Piggy's horror, the signal fire on top of the mountain has been neglected. The fire was the responsibility of Jack and his hunters, but he had called them all away to help him with a hunting expedition. Furious, Ralph confronts Jack, trying to convey the enormity of the opportunity they just lost. But he and his boys are fresh from their first kill, and are so consumed with bloodlust that they hardly care, and instead reenact the scenario with a wild dance and ritualistic chant. When Piggy steps up to berate Jack, he takes out his rage on him, striking him in the face and breaking one side of his glasses. In an attempt to regain control of the situation, Ralph calls a meeting with the conch, but there is more trouble, as fear of the unknown, unnamed beast in the woods has continued to spread amongst the boys, particularly the younger ones. The older boys try to convince them that there is no place on the island for a beast to hide, but this doesn't work. That night, unbeknownst to the boys, a battle takes place in the air above the island, and a dead parachutist drifts onto the mountaintop where the signal fire is. Sam and Eric, the twins who are now in charge of the fire, are asleep, but wake up to the flapping sounds of the parachute. Seeing the terrifying silhouette in the darkness, they flee back to camp, convinced that they have seen the beast. To put all these fears to rest, Ralph and Jack organize an expedition to hunt down and kill the beast, even though they doubt its existence. They explore an area of the island they have not been to before, a large rocky outcrop, which Jack notes would make a great place for a fort. Eventually, they arrive at their signal fire mountain, but by this time it has gotten dark, and everyone is too scared to climb it. Determined not to show weakness in front of each other, Ralph and Jack decide to climb it anyway, along with another boy. As they reach the top, the wind blowing the body of the parachutist looks in the darkness like an enormous contorted ape, which fills them with terror, and they flee back to camp. Tensions now come to a head at the beach, as Jack calls Ralph a coward for running away from the beast, and tries to vote him out of his leadership position. Nobody backs up his vote, however, and this humiliating defeat causes Jack to run off to the other side of the island, announcing that he will start a new tribe there. In an attempt to rally everyone together after these tumultuous events, Ralph orders everyone to build a new signal fire on the beach. But while they work, most of the bigger boys secretly slip away to join Jack. As expected, Jack's tribe is purely focused on hunting, and they take things a step further by dressing up in war paint and killing a huge pig to commemorate their new group and leader. Rather gruesomely, Jack cuts the head off of the pig and leaves it on a stake as an offering to appease the beast. Sometime later, Simon, who often slips away from the rest of the group to be on his own, sees the pighead from his hiding place and has a terrible vision where the bloody fly-covered carcass seems to speak to him, calling itself the Lord of the Flies. The head warns him that he cannot escape him since he exists within all men. While Jack invites everyone to a feast to celebrate his leadership, Simon climbs the mountain alone and discovers the dead parachutist. He realizes that there is never any beast, only the beast that lives within each of the boys, and heads down to the feast to tell the others what he has found. However, the group of boys, including Ralph and Piggy, are drunk off the meat, fire, and blood, and have started up their wild chanting and dancing. When Simon emerges from the forest, the boys mistake him for the beast and kill him with their bare hands. Things quickly go downhill from here, as apart from Piggy, Sam, and Eric, only a few young boys are left in Ralph's tribe. Jack and his hunters take advantage of their weakness and attack them, stealing Piggy's glasses to claim the source of fire. Piggy is practically blind without them, so the straggled group go to Jack's side of the island to demand he returns them. This was never going to end well, and as expected, Jack refuses their pleas and orders Sam and Eric to be tied up. In a final attempt to regain control, Ralph attacks Jack and they have a proper fistfight. During the scuffle, a boy rolls a boulder down the hill, which strikes Piggy, instantly killing him and shattering the conch shell. Jack's tribe are so far gone, however, that they are no longer fazed by the murder they have just committed, and turn their bloodlust towards Ralph, who barely manages to escape and hide. Now an outcast, Ralph is hunted mercilessly like one of the pigs, and Jack goes so far as to order the whole forest burned down in order to smoke him out of hiding. Ralph is eventually forced out onto the beach, chased by a horde of wild boys with spears. But an incredible stroke of luck, he runs into a naval officer who has been attracted to the island by the smoke from the fires set by Jack to flush out Ralph. The sight of this authority figure causes the reality of their actions to crash down on the boys, and they all begin to weep. The officer mistakes their tears as tears of relief at being saved, and turns away to let them regain their composure.